Winter Soldier, which I think is one of my better reviews. I really liked that review. I
Yeah.
was quite happy with that one. I what do you call it? Said like will the race issues there, and I think they could have made it just so much more interesting than they did. It just felt so secondary. Where realistically, it seemed as though the writers made it thought that were thinking to themselves, "Oh, this people are going to pick up on this," and some people have claimed that like it was really good. I just think it could have been better. I think they could have done it so much better.
I've heard from a lot of people, especially the ones on NME, basically saying, yeah, this is what they were saying to me before when I was on the Spider-Man spoiler cast. They were like, have you watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier yet? And I was like, no, we're actually going into the TV show blind, the both of us. And they went, okay, read everything up until the last episode. Don't even bother watching it. I went, okay, cool, thanks for that. I was like, that doesn't really help me because I have to watch them.
Yeah. Do you know, right? I would still say Falcon Winter Soldier was more enjoyable than Hawkeye.
Oh, wow, okay. I know a lot of people were talking about Hawkeye being
Well,
decent, so
well,
there you
listen,
know, Brent.
Hawkeye is only decent for the final two episodes. So Pete, in the same way they told you to skip over like only watch the final episode of Falcon Winter Soldier, only watch the last two episodes of Hawkeye. Just read up to the end because nothing happens. Nothing happens until those last two episodes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to give it a look because
Yeah,
they're on a different angle with that one. I think they're very consistent and really like Hawkeye. So
and it's in the same way where like things like WandaVision and that really made you kind of care a bit more about these formerly kind of sidekick characters, let's call them.
yeah,
Thanks, Brent.
Like I just feel with Clint Barton, it doesn't do anything to make you care anymore for Clint Barton at all.
Um.
Oh, Pete, I think I'm
I'm
echoing
just
through something.
no, it's because I'm checking the sound. Actually, I was just wanting people
Oh.
to like talk so I can hear it to make
Oh.
sure it's come through.
So you want the echo? Yes, Brent. I'm glad to see you stop by.
Yeah, thank you, Brent.
And yes, it's Ciaran. Yay!
Yeah, Ciaran is back, and yes, please preserve power if you need it. Please don't waste it on us.
Ciaran, do you want to type your magic words?
Oh yes, I might actually have to do a tweet.
But do you want to type your magic words into Discord, Ciaran?
Right, I'm starting to think I'm not. I think I'm losing my touch. Plus, I keep forgetting the actual Twitch thing. I don't know if one of you two want to do it. My creative juices are not flowing today.
Okay, I do it.
I used it up this morning when I was writing out that scene.
I understand that. That is a thing that does happen. As it goes quiet.
Yeah, we chilling. We just wait. Oh wait, hold on a minute. I'm a silly Billy, ain't I? There we go. Yeah, I'm a silly Billy, Pete. I forgot to look at the document you sent. There we go. Open up.
What, Pete?
See, Pete should told me about I talked about that. I could have went and bloody watched it. Jinx.
What's that?
One of the quick story, the last quick story you put in there.
Oh yes.
Right, you know what, I might just throw it in the background quickly, and just without audio, I would just see.
I'll be honest. I haven't even watched it yet. I can't even be bothered. To be honest, I'm sort of. It comes out in a really weird time that it's like 2 days before Rachel's birthday, so I'm not sure I can warrant purchasing a game like right before her birthday, and also because I spent £600 on that behemoth behind me a couple of weeks before Christmas. So I was like,
wait, what did you say?
I said I can't justify spending money on a game when I spent £600 on that behemoth behind me.
You're talking about the TV?
No, the PS5.
Oh right, yeah, that makes more sense. I was going to say £600 on a TV. I was like, that's ridiculous.
No, actually, my TV cost me about £500. surprisingly, actually, isn't it?
That's
Well, it's not
cool.
like that was the thing. It was a 2020 model, so it wasn't a 2021 when I bought it, and it's a few models back, so it was going out of rotation. But the specs on it were spectacular. It was basically sort of in line with the LG CX range, just without a few of the bells and whistles on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you want TV and monitor advice, come to me. I've done enough shopping on them. Well, annoyingly, like I did a lot of research for a TV that's at Rachel's house that she now broke, which is really annoying. Yeah, because you didn't hear about that the other day, did you? You didn't join our chat before you managed to hear that Rachel was caught COVID.
I think at this point everyone's getting it. I mean, I've avoided it since it started, and then I got it again like the other week there.
I haven't.
Yeah.
So
It's proving the point that Kylie has done the best thing by just not seeing humans. Well done.
Yep. Yeah, because it's both of y'all, isn't it? I'm the last holdout. I'm the one that's going to
Yeah, I had
survive
it
the
early.
zombie apocalypse. What?
I wish I didn't catch it early.
You wish you didn't.
Yeah, I wish I didn't.
Why? Because doesn't it help?
Because at least I would have known what it was.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, there is that. Chat, because I messed up so badly, we'll give you an extra 5 minutes, I think.
Yep.
Week is out, by the way. I got a little bit mildly distracted with having a chat about TVs and behemoth PlayStations.
Yes.
That
As a
thing's,
choker.
like, honestly, it's a big boy. I love the fact I just sit there and I look at it and I see like over there, the Switch. Like it's tiny, like the dock, and then you got the Xbox, it goes up in size, and then the PlayStation goes up in size again. It's just a beast. So stupid, the size of the thing. It doesn't need to be that big.
That's what she said.
I've never heard that.
Do you want to discuss that? Because I'll discuss that. Oh, I cannot wait to go on Deadbeat Show. It's going to be so raunchy.
Oh, it's gonna. I think you were saying to me yesterday, it's the ability to get one of you cancelled.
Yep. We're gonna
Right.
one up each other.
That's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait.
Yes.
See, CP, I'm just thinking if like none of us have actually seen the Pokemon one, should we try and change that out quickly? I don't know.
Nah, I know enough about it. I know sort of I've seen basically every trailer. I just didn't watch the gameplay demonstration.
And I get
but
to say Arceus.
I've heard enough from other podcasts about it to know what I would have seen.
Because I was going to say there's other stuff, certain NFT story.
I would love to talk about that.
No.
But if it's a quick
I'm
one,
never gonna get to talk about NFTs. Nobody wants to hear it.
I'm so sick of discussing them. They are a waste of time, and I will not, give them the attention they want.
But Pete, how epic is it though to like own a cartoon gorilla? For,
Really?
like,
That I can right click and save picture for.
yeah, but you didn't pay money for it.
Digital piracy. Fine. All right, we'll take the Arceus story out. Arceus, whatever you want to call it. We'll talk about
I don't care either way. I don't
Sorry.
care.
Troy Baker and his NFT crap. Fucking Troy Baker. And yes,
Yeah,
I swore. That's how much I hate it.
Well, we're technically not started, so.
I don't care.
Oh, why is there fur flying around in my room?
Don't know. Fine. Change documents to Troy Baker is a shill.
Does he ever? Where's this? Does he ever?
I mean, I was actually skimming through to see if there's anything else, but I think you're right, there's not too much, is there?
That's what I mean. We just talk about it. It's like Troy Baker creates a company.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just news in general, like in terms of small stories. There's not even that much that
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, these are all the stories that I felt were probably like the biggest and the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
These were like the more interesting, let's say. Because I know we do have a few fans of the Pokemons. And also, I tried to have a bit of balance in the fact that we're covering Microsoft, Sony, and there was not
No,
a
we can
single...
cover Arceus. I'm happy to
There
say
wasn't a single
Arceus.
Nintendo story anywhere.
I'm happy to say Arceus as many times as I can.
It's more that, like, I probably should have watched it in case we were going to talk about it. So I'm not a big fan of talking about things that I not really seen. You know,
Well, yeah.
that's the only thing for me. That's why I could get the video up and like
Just have a
have
look
all.
at... Just have the video sort of there and have a look at it. Like, there's not actually that much to say about it. It's just... I think if you basically played Sword and Shield, you know exactly what's coming with it, really. It's just different time period, different way of doing things rather than actually like your bog standard typical Pokemon formula. I think that's what's got
chat.
people excited about it, because
Please come join us
Please do.
for sing song along.
How has it been 4 years since Arcade Edition came out for Street Fighter 5? Bloody hell.
Chat, I hope you arrive, but your time is up. What, Pete?
Yeah, I've just noticed something.
What?
Oh, don't worry, I will sort it.
Did I leave the link out?
Indeed.
I did.
Indeed.
I put about 5% brain power in that, so I don't even know what I wrote without looking at it.
It's 5% luck, 20% skill, 50% concentrated power of will. Anyone get the song, then go for it.
I don't get the song.
Ciaran probably does.
He does.
And I know a lyric. Is it like, right, you're gonna kill me? Is it Wu-Tang?
No.
Dang it! Right, I thought it was close there.
What is it, Pete? Is it Eminem?
No, actually. It comes from an unlikely source. He does rapping for another band. The band is, well, his side project is not very big, but the band he is a main leader of is massive. I.e. Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park, his side band, Fort Minor.
Oh, okay. I probably have not heard that song ever in my life.
Probably not, but yeah, it actually is probably Fort Minor's most famous song at this point.
I listen to boring music.
They suck. They have a couple of okay songs, but they're very bog standard. They're not rap. They're not like rock or anything. They're just a rap outfit.
Cool.
Who? What?
I said cool.
Who? Oh right, I thought you said who.
No.
Then I was then about to start singing. Oh yeah.
Hoo. See, I like boring music. I think I will let everyone do their thing, and then y'all let me know.
I mean, I'm ready to go. Again, I've got dinner.
I have actually
Got
got
like 5.
Nobody wants to hang out with me. Okay.
I've got to do sound testing.
Oh.
Right,
So, Ciaran, how's your life been? But I'm going to ask you that question on stream. So on recording. So, Ciaran, what's your favorite Pokemon?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I've not really played many Pokemon games in my time. I've never really owned a Nintendo console. However, this gameplay video is actually quite intriguing.
Very well. You did it.
I thought you were going to say Bidoof, because everyone loves Bidoof.
That's because of the recent little short they put out.
Yes, I know.
Squirtle. For life.
That's because you like turtles and
Water
not
types.
saying the other thing.
Oh, you're so gross, Pete!
Moving on.
That's so gross. Okay. Count
Make of
me
that
out.
whatever you will. I don't care.
I know exactly what you're saying.
I know. I knew you would.
I know.
Kieran's just so entrenched in this Arceus, or Arceus, whatever you want to call it, but Arceus.
Arceus.
I think it's just like such a, I don't know, I really like the style of it. But I'll save my thoughts while this continues running. But I'm good to go when you are again. I'll need to leave. Quite.
Oh my gosh! Kieran's like, look, I want to leave. Okay.
Look, I've had enough.
No, I'm saying this because you know
I know. Look, give me a second. I just got a test. Just gonna go and check this. See what.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, shut up! You know what the deal is.
But I'm impatient, and I haven't had any coffee today. Or wine. This is unfiltered. Wine.
Got plenty of time.
Oh, you want me to leave now and go grab some coffee? I think Ciaran would probably lose his last nerve. Oh, I don't want to hear myself.
Probably.
Are we good yet?
Rice's thing is slow. Sorry. There we go.
What are we waiting on?
Okay, we're good to go.
We're good. Sorry, am I boring you, Kylie?
No,
boring
it's just awkward. So, just tell me when.
Nothing awkward about anything. Just sitting there like. That's not awkward. That's boredom.
Yeah, but now we need to get started so we
I know,
can get
let's
Ciaran
go.
out of here.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm recording now, and we are going to go in.
Welcome to episode 107 of Rapid Reviews Radio Podcast. Oh, I said the episode first. Episode 107 is our news roundup, and we have a special guest who has graced us with his presence, his shining, glowing presence. So I am your co-host, Kylie Wild, and I'm joined by my other co-host, Pete Beckett, and my guest / co-host, Ciaran. Say hello, guys.
Howdy ho.
So every week I start it with the same thing. Pete, how was your week?
Oh, I'm not that important. I thought you were going to go to Ciaran first because he's been absent for a lot longer. But I will gladly accept that. My week's been all over the place.
Yes.
Oh, it's been a nightmare of a week, to be honest. Fair few meetings this week with work. Partner caught COVID, so I haven't seen her.
Yeah.
Love it. And I played golf and now feel like an old man today because my back is sore. So.
Preach,
Oh,
brother,
dear.
preach.
But yeah. Let's say uneventful.
Okay. All right.
If that's what you want to use as the correct
Sure.
word. I don't know if that is correct.
Well, we'll go with that. Ciaran, what about you? How has your week been?
Yeah, it's been fine. I caught COVID. Would have been last week. Let's see that. Yeah, it would have been last week I got COVID. So I'm still. Well, my isolation ends as of tomorrow, which is quite good. We'll be able to get out. But I'll also start uni tomorrow. Well, not actually in uni tomorrow, but tomorrow's when the semester starts. So that'll be interesting. I've just been working on dissertation work in the meantime. I had to get that in, which I'm actually really enjoying. Getting through that quite a bit. I'm really hoping to get back and do some more reviews and stuff. I know the other day my review of the Destiny 2 30th anniversary pack came out. Got that done because I was already playing that. Thought I'd get it done anyway. And if you want to know my thoughts on it, go to that. But I'll also bring that back up later. But yeah, other than that, fine. I got a new computer as well. Been putting that through its paces. That's about it.
Excellent. Very, very good. Well, this show is going to be a quickie. because we all need those in our lives at one point or another.
Kylie, you do this every time.
Yeah, every time.
Nobody cares about what your week's been like.
Nobody cares.
No, we do. We do.
Well, my week is I didn't catch COVID. That's my week.
Wonderful. Thanks for that.
I mean, that's it. That's literally it. So this week's episode is, like I said, a quickie. It is a news roundup that I guess both Ciaran and Pete have, I was going to say cultivated. That's not the word. Curated. Yes, that's it. Thank
Wrong,
you, Ciaran.
because you were also involved in the process by including the first story.
What story? I don't even remember.
Someone hasn't opened their document.
I can't. My
Should have done it before we streamed.
It's
It's fine. You could go in. You could go in blind then.
I always do. I actually did open the document. I literally can't remember what the first story is.
Okay, let's just smash into the story, shall we?
Smashing. But yes.
Just
Right,
cash
hard.
head first.
Hard and fast.
Pete!
Anyway, let's get into it. So, the first story is that the hang on, why is that not? Just noticed a really weird thing about my document that hasn't.
I mean, I've got it here, Pete, if you want me to kind of...
No, I have got. Don't worry, it was the fact that it's something. I thought I'd made an update on the document that just hasn't.
Thank you to our listeners for hanging in there. Look,
Yeah,
it's our
bit
second
weird.
show. It's our second show of the year.
Yeah, I know.
So.
So much for that. We're going to be all right this week, Kylie. Talk that we had the other day.
Oh my gosh.
Nope. Gone to hell within 4 minutes.
Pep talk to each other.
Yeah. Anyway, Stalker 2 has been confirmed to be delayed for 7 months with a new release date being
That's my nickname.
December 8th, 2022. The post that was made on Twitter by the developers, I believe it's Lakeland Games, right?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I
I'll
did
read the
put that
statement.
in the chat. Yes, I did.
Yes, that's why I said you put this story in here.
I did.
So you have helped curate the stories too.
I guess
anyway, so the statement reads as such. It was a picture that was posted onto Twitter. It says, "Stalkers, we have made a decision to postpone the release of Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl to December 8th, 2022. These additional 7 months of development are needed to fulfill our vision and achieve the desired state of the game. Stalker 2 is the biggest project in the history of GSC, and it requires thorough testing and polishing. We are convinced that development should take as long as necessary, especially in the case of such a project. This decision was not an easy one, but we are doing the best possible to deliver you a game that can live up to expectations." Not going to bother saying the rest of that because it's just a thank you message anyway. So cool. You can tell that this was written in a language that is not native to them because it's quite poorly written. Anyway, that's my thoughts done. So, Kylie, as you brought this to the forefront, and so, someone who is quite excited about Stalker 2, how did it make you feel?
Well, I mean, I literally can't remember what I said. I mean, last week we talked about Stalker 2 coming out because it was supposed to come out in the first or second quarter. I can't remember.
Well, either one of the two, but we covered it in our first half of the discussion, didn't we?
We did. And I talked about how I liked the trailer with the like low rent Chris Redfield talking to you, and I knew that they had wanted to make him more, they wanted to do all kinds of stuff to him that I thought that's not an easy fix, you know, like they wanted him to morph with your character, and morph as in like his attitude towards your character, you know, grow and evolution and all that crap.
Yeah.
And I thought that was weird because that's not something you do the last minute. That's something you do in the beginning. And so in some ways I'm not surprised, but also I'm not surprised because everything's getting delayed nowadays. And I really think this is more endemic to a problem with devs, well, maybe more publishers. We'll put it on the publisher's shoulders. Putting out release dates that are unrealistic, and then having to go back and say, well, we changed our mind.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's unrealistic expectations put on by publishers. There has to be some sort of agreement between the publishers and developers about when the game is due. It is nearing completion, clearly. It might be that they've jumped the gun and gone, okay, we thought this was a lot further along than it is. Maybe it isn't. Okay, let's take the difficult decision to delay it. But we've obviously seen this a lot now because of Cyberpunk. I don't think anybody really wants the fallout that Cyberpunk got in their game, so they're probably rightly so actually taking decisions to delay games to make sure that they're actually good or playable or not buggy.
Well,
or not overpromised.
Let me ask
or any number of things that Cyberpunk did and did not deliver on.
Well, I'm curious. Let me ask you both. Ciaran, you can answer first. Would you be bothered more by a game that is stated to come out, let's say a game's supposed to come out January 1st, and then the developer says, never mind, we're delaying it till June 1st. Or would you be more disappointed in a game that just said, actually, we're coming out June 1st with no delays? Like, which one would disappoint you more, or is it either way?
Kind of a question. I don't think I mean, I don't know if it's just there's been that many delays in recent years that I've just become apathetic to them. Like when a delay happens, it's almost I think nowadays you almost expect it, don't you?
Yes.
Something to get delayed. So again, like whenever something gets delayed, I'll see it and say, "Oh, it's delayed. Okay." It doesn't have like impact on me. Like there's few games that have really been coming out that like I've really went, "Oh, that's a real shame. I was really hoping to play this." If Halo get delayed, for example, I would have been a bit thinking about that. If Halo get delayed a bit further, I've been like, "Oh, come on!" But that's the only thing I can think recent memory that actually gets me kind of disappointed. I wouldn't say I'm disappointed by delays, because at the end of the day, you look at games that weren't delayed and came out anyway. Not to name names, that made many promises. In fact, no, this one I'm thinking of was delayed, but even then it still came out in a horrible state. But it's the fact that more and more delays almost seem necessary, but then that does raise a question: what's the point even setting a release date at that point until you know you're not going to delay it? Like what could cause something to be that catastrophically bad that you need to delay it?
Right.
And again, with this one, like how long has this been in development for? Quite some time.
Quite a few years at this point.
Has this one been delayed before? I feel there's one that's already been delayed. Am I making that up?
I couldn't say for sure whether that was the case without actually checking it out, but
it wouldn't surprise me.
Either way, 7 months is a long time. It does raise a question. What was it they're fixing? Because I mean, from there, because I mean, the trailers we got, the big trailer we got was actually an engine kind of gameplay stuff. So looks really good. Who knows? Maybe they're taking 7 months to remove all the NFTs from the game. It was that NFT heavy. You never know.
It's true.
We can never let them live down the fact that
It's so true.
they wanted to put NFTs in a video game, which yeah. So who knows? Maybe it was that NFT heavy. Like they need 7 months to just clear it. They need to clean the slate.
It's possible, but I think we were discussing this the other day in our chat. Probably, I think they found a major bug during QA testing, and I mean major.
Yeah, you could be right, but I mean, Pete, are you bothered more by developers promising and delivering later, or delivering on a later promise?
I don't think either one bothers me that much because delays happen. Regardless of what way you look at it, I'd rather a game come out good.
Yeah.
So if they take the extra time to make sure that the game comes out in a serviceable state, because like I said, we had Cyberpunk happen, that has now set a precedent. If you want to use a legal term for how games should come out or shouldn't come out, then everyone is sort of running foul from being tarred with that brush. So
Pete, I wasn't naming names, but I never even thought of Cyberpunk. That's definitely not what I was talking about either.
I don't care, I'm calling it out. CD Projekt Red really completely screwed the pooch with that one, and I bought 2 copies and felt burned by it, so screw them.
Why on earth would you buy 2 copies?
Well, he
Bought a
sent
Christmas
me
present for Kylie.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I know. It's fine. I got burned, so therefore I've learned a lesson. That's all I need.
Don't buy Kylie Christmas presents.
No, don't buy CD Projekt Red games on day one.
But yeah, that is true.
Well, because the Witcher 3 came
Although-
out in a horrible state.
But
Nobody ever mentions that.
Listen, don't you dare. Turn my
No, it is widely reported, widely well known that in 2015, when the original version of The Witcher 3 came out, it was more buggy than Cyberpunk. It took months for them to recover that game.
Oh look.
By the good graces of CD Projekt Red.
Listen, Pete. Right, listen. The Witcher 3 is a masterpiece. So if I go by this
It
logic,
is now. It is now.
But right, on that note, perhaps Cyberpunk may be a masterpiece in years to come when they finally fix it.
some people
Because
think it will. Some people think it will.
Did you know in the Steam Awards for last year, Cyberpunk got best narrative from the Steam community? I kid you not. So my friend does tell my friend's completed it like twice. Don't ask me how he was able to get through it. But he says that the story was really good.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe when they do fix the bugs and stuff, I might earn Witcher status. Maybe not Witcher 3 status. Let's be real. But
Definitely not. It's not going to happen. I do believe that once the game is properly fixed, there's a next gen version that comes out for it. It will be all right.
Yeah.
Like,
but even on that note as well, like the fact that we're talking about the fact Witcher 3, probably easily one of the best games ever made. That came out in a horrible state, and now look at it as a masterpiece. But that just shows that realistically, delays aren't a bad thing.
No,
because
they're not.
They could bring the game out in a better state, but at the same time, what's the point in setting a release date again?
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't see the point in setting a release date this early on.
I just think we're in very strange territory right now with the games industry in that regard, in terms of like production and development. I think, especially with things becoming next gen now, and we're soon about to enter a time where we're going to get next gen only games.
Mm-hmm.
And then how long will they take to make?
Yeah.
Apparently not as long as something like normal, because
I suppose yeah.
They don't need, because of the state of the SSDs now, they don't need to emulate millions of items like over and over again. That should cut down on development time and things like that. So
I'm just thinking as well, they won't need to make 2 different builds, one for old gen, one for next gen.
Right.
But it doesn't really make a difference that much when actually the architecture of both the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X, as well as the PS4 and PS5, are both running on the x86 architecture. So they're actually exactly the same to develop for.
Yeah.
So, but let's leave this one on the immortal quote that was made by one particular person in the games industry, Mr. Famous Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yes.
A delayed game is eventually good, but a rush game is forever bad.
That's true.
Yes. So, let's move on to the next news story, because that was only supposed to be short. That was 10 minutes.
I can have it.
I know.
I was curious.
Anyway, let's move on to Pokemon Legends Arceus. Or Arceus.
Arceus.
I know you were going to say Arceus. You love it.
I do.
Anyway, so there was a new gameplay demonstration video that came out that was roughly around about 15 minutes long, showing off a lot of the new mechanics and the general gameplay loop that's going to be had with this game, because it's a little bit different from what a traditional Pokemon game is.
It's built different.
It's basically more like Monster Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's more similar to Monster Hunter in its gameplay loop rather than a traditional Pokemon game.
even then, right. So I watched the gameplay thing there, right? It showed off the bit I got through was like combat and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It really interests me. It looks like see in terms of style, like the third person kind of RPG kind of thing they're going for. I really like that. I really like the look of it. But in terms of in terms of Monster Hunter, I wouldn't even say then it looks anything like normal Monster Hunter. It looks like that Monster Hunter spin-off thing, the Monster Hunter stories.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot more of that than actual
It,
Monster Hunter.
yeah, what I more sort of liken it to Monster Hunter and the mainline series is the fact that you are a human character, let's say, walking around and encountering huge monsters that can now attack you, which is
Yeah,
something
but
that's not been in Pokemon at all.
yeah,
Pokemon have never harmed humans.
yeah, but I think the whole point of it, like story wise, is not like years and years before like modern day. That's the whole point. I'm pretty sure that in the gameplay thing, the narrator says, "Oh, you get access to so many items, this, and that, and a mysterious new invention called the Pokeball." And I think that's cool. I like that's
Yeah,
a nice
it's
little
supposed to
thing.
be like a
Yeah,
prequel
Oh,
series. Like
that's
it's supposed to be
cool.
set a long time before like humans and
Huh?
Pokemon lived like coexisted and lived in the world together.
Oh, that's intriguing.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's got an interesting story to it and an
Yeah, I think
interesting
the premise
idea.
is really cool, and I think looking at the gameplay, it looks interesting. You've got like it's like an RPG. You've got stealth elements, where you sneak up to like certain Pokemon wandering around, and again, Pete, as you said, like some will attack you and you can fight them. But I'm pretty sure it's still got that kind of turn-based combat thing that
They
Pokemon's
do
always had.
they do have the turn-based combat that Pokemon does have, but
Yeah,
the vast majority of the gameplay loop is actually collecting multiple of the same Pokemon for quests.
yeah. So you need to build up your Pokédex thing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, so you have to go around and actually use these new inventions called Pokeballs to catch them. I do like the fact that they set off fireworks when you do catch them rather than lighting
Mhm.
up the front of the ball. That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
but but watching it, again, like, listen. I know, Pete. I think you said the other day you're kind of fed up of people saying, "Oh, it's this game's something Breath of the Wild," but like
It does look like Breath
It's
of the
pretty Breath of the
Wild.
Wild, if I'm honest.
It does, like so
it is,
much.
and I think Nintendo's their own copycat when it comes to these things. If you ask me, when it comes to making Breath of the Wild style things, like they're just they're the ones that made it, and they're the ones that seem to be copying it. If you ask me, with certain
Um, I
things.
don't know. I think Ubisoft might have a few words to say about that. Immortals
Oh,
Phoenix Rising.
Wow.
one. It's one. And Immortals Phoenix Rising was great.
Ah.
I think Sonic might have. I think Sega might have a few things to say about
Yes,
Sonic Frontiers.
yeah. Sonic, I've not seen too much in that new Kirby one, but is the Kirby one not open world as well?
Open world 3D game with a partner as companion as well in Bandana Waddle Dee, and people were pissed about that as well.
So, yeah. But going back to Pokemon, though, like all that aside, I think this is a really interesting
Yeah,
direction.
I,
It certainly mixes up the Pokemon formula for
sure.
fans, and it's something that if I had a Switch, I'd definitely pick up just from watching what I've seen. I'd definitely pick up. I think this looks quite interesting. It's just,
I
just in terms of substance, like how much substance is there in it, other than going out fighting, collecting things.
that's what
That's the
well,
question.
I have a few things that I need to that I wonder about with it, and I'll be I'll be honest here. It's Game Freak. Game Freak are not notoriously well known for good-looking games. Let's all go back a few years to the whole N64 tree in Pokemon Sword and Shield. They don't make that good-looking games. Also, they don't. But most of the time, they don't particularly run very well either. So I have issues with performance and the look of this game at
I
times.
mean, right, I don't own a Switch, Pete, though, right? But like, I've heard many things about, the Switch isn't a Series X or a PlayStation,
Right.
right?
Of course, it isn't. But games that do run well run incredibly well on it. Why is it that Smash Brothers is like one of the better looking games on the system and still runs an absolutely solid 60 frames per second, regardless of what's going on? It's optimized incredibly well, but that's because Bandai Namco and Sora Inc., as well as Mr. Sakurai himself, know what they're doing with the system. Whereas, and this is not to their fault, it's the fact that Game Freak are very inexperienced with the Switch as an architecture because they're most used to developing for handheld consoles, not hybrid consoles. And Sword and Shield were their first attempt at it. And yeah, it was an okay game. It played okay, it looked okay, but that's all it was. Okay.
Fair enough. Well, again, regardless, I think it looks quite impressive. Let's hope that I really hope people do like it because it does look like something different for a change.
I'll be honest, like that's what's excited me the most about it is that actual moving away from the typical Pokemon formula, like
Mhm.
because
Yeah, trying
it was
something new. Yeah.
yeah, it was quite interesting actually because I was listening to it on a podcast I was listening to earlier on today, where someone likened it to the fact that we've grown up with Pokemon games, yet the Pokemon games haven't grown up with us.
That's very wholesome and somewhat cheesy, but
But the fact of the matter
but
is, it's
yeah.
like nearly 30 years later at this point. It was coming up to its 30th anniversary in 4 years' time, and yet they're still bog standard turn-based RPGs that are kind of difficult at times. But most of the gameplay loop is I'm gonna press A to get through this battle.
I mean, people still buy it though, don't they?
They do, and I think a lot of that is based on the nostalgia of a lot of the Pokemon fans being there when it first came out, and they still buy it despite the fact that they're, let's be honest, Pokemon games are probably aimed at baby's first RPG. You tell me I'm wrong.
Pete. I don't know if I can, but I know many adult person loves Pokemon. All they say.
I like Pokemon, but that's not to say that they're like overly well designed games. Like
Yes.
they have a formula and it works for them because it's often multiple million sellers because people love the main thing about Pokemon, which is the Pokemon themselves. The designs
That
of the Pokemon, I think, is what gets them through most games. If they were if those Pokemon designs weren't as awesome as they are at times, I think Pokemon would have died years ago.
fair enough. Kayla, you want to be in before we move on?
Arceus.
Profound. Thanks for that. No, do you have anything you
I
do want
actually
to mention
think
with this?
I actually think that the premise is very cool. I'm intrigued by that. I also agree that it is Breath of the Wild-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think it will do well. Honestly, it's a Pokemon game. It is a Pokemon franchise game,
Yep.
and there's a built-in fan base there.
Sure.
Not to say that they can't fail. It's too big to fail or whatever, but it's pretty close to
I
being
agree.
too big to fail.
Fine.
So-
Quick prediction then. How many copies do you reckon this will
Oh my
sell?
gosh. Oh, well, okay. Well, you guys.
Based on the average,
I was
that
gonna
most
say,
most Pokemon games will sell anywhere between 12 and about 16 to 17 million on average.
I think it will not sell as much the first week, and then as people begin to play, it'll skyrocket.
I'm
I'm confident
like-
people will like it. I'm confident people will like it.
okay. I like your sentiment there, Kylie, but unfortunately that's not usually how Pokemon sales work. Pokemon sales are always strongest in the first week.
I would have to take your word for it on that one.
Yeah, it's though. You remember what it was like back in the day because we're old, how people used to line up outside shops for pre-orders for games.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Pokemon was always the one that had the biggest crowds for
Oh,
every
right.
week.
Right.
Always. The only other one that I saw that outdid it was Halo 3.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, that's because it was a cultural phenomenon, though. It was like something else. So, but Pokemon always seems to gather those numbers, midnight launch numbers, and they're probably
Right.
still getting them now because of all those people who buy them on the eShop and preload if they can. Well,
Yeah.
downloads very small. Seem to be very small on the Switch anyway, and quite quick, so it's not usually a problem there.
I definitely have to trust your judgment on that.
I reckon 15 million.
Right. Okay.
Maybe
So
not
slightly
overall,
above.
yeah.
Slightly above the lower end, then, right?
Yeah, I think it's a change in formula that could more
Well, see,
people on first week.
Oh, okay. See, I was thinking. Here's my rationale: is that the Pokemon normal built-in base will buy it, and then people who don't normally play Pokemon will say, this is a nifty little RPG. I think I'm into it," and then buy it.
Yeah, I get that. Like, I think I sort of saw where your sentiment was before you said it. Anyway, I sort of knew that some people might be wondering or worrying about what this game looks and plays like. So I think what they've done is they've done this at the right time, Game Freak, by revealing this a couple of weeks before launch.
Right. Very good.
Anyway, so let's move on to the next.
Swiftly moving on. Yes.
Because, I mean, this is in the shorter news stories, but this could have warranted a bigger discussion, if I'm honest. Because... No, this is being
Kieran's
reported...
like, look, I've got macaroni and cheese. Do you understand?
No, I'm just...
Oh, no, what do with that?
Just saying it could have been covered as a much larger news story.
Wait, you seen about the Pokemon one, yeah?
No. The next.
Oh, okay, that's why I was saying that. I was like, I don't think so.
Okay, fine. No, wires crossed there. Not the Pokemon story. That is not a big story to me. Anyway, this one was the one that's causing a bit of a conflict with a few people, because there are reports out there stating that the production on PS4 consoles has increased after numbers of the PS5 are still very limited. Sony have now denied these claims, which are quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
However, a couple of days after, or maybe 24 hours after the original claim was stated that they're ramping up production on PS4s again, Microsoft came out and confirmed that they've stopped all production on Xbox One systems and are now focusing solely on this generation. So I have to ask, who really does believe in generations this time? Jim Ryan?
Yes.
You lying sack of crap.
Pete got very heated over this.
Yeah, because Jim Ryan,
Jim
the liar. Yeah, Jim Ryan, the liar, said when the PS5 was first. Yeah, when the PS5 was first revealed, we believe in generations. We are not doing cross-generational releases. We are having a blank stop. That's it.
But this is the same.
Now, Horizon, God of War, GT7 are all cross-generation games, which Sony have never done this before, ever.
I think that with the craziness of the last couple of years, Sony lost its complete, playbook. We'll say that.
I know that Japanese companies have struggled with the work from home mentality. It's just not in their culture to do that.
No, it is not. At all. But also the fact that Jim Ryan has stated specifically that nobody wants to play old games. So.
But yet he's now they're now considering this option of having this, PS Now subscription service.
Oh gosh.
That is like Game Pass, like we saw a few weeks back. So clearly the consumers have said, no, Jim Ryan, we actually want to play old games, and he smelt the money.
That's his whole guiding force.
Yeah.
Which
money.
is, if I'm honest, that's the type of person you want in that position if you're all about the money. But I'm gonna have to say that if it were my company, God, that's a difficult one, because I was gonna be all like, yeah, you might as well stop making the last generation. But when it comes to the PS5, I don't know the consumer base numbers. I know that, Pete, you have one.
Well, yeah, I think anyone behind, can actually see it behind me, It's quite obvious to see. In fact, when I was on ME, just before we recorded, they were like, I didn't know you had a PS5. I was like, yeah, because I haven't told anyone because I don't want to.
But
now people know.
You feel shamed on that big box of a console.
I'm not ashamed about it. I had my reasons behind it. Kylie knows exactly the reason why I didn't tell everyone straight away about it. I'll tell you both afterwards again. But I didn't want to make it abundantly obvious, because then people might ask me to do things with said box, so I'm not doing it.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw it in the trash.
It's just look, that the haptic feedback on the controller is probably the biggest selling point of the DualSense anyway.
I mean, I'm just saying, you've got a Series X there. I mean, what else do you need, really?
A Switch, a PS5, and a new PC.
I can understand the PC, but I mean, you've got the superior console there. I get
Because, Ciaran, this is the key thing, right? And I'll say this, ASMR, slowly. into the microphone.
Please don't.
Well, I'm going to do it anyway. Because I'm not a console fanboy.
Listen. Right. Neither am I. Right. But you got to respect Xbox. You know, they've been working hard. They've been trying their best. Phil Spencer,
Respect the
what a
hustle.
guy. And now Pete, don't get me started on Game Pass. Do you know what Game Pass is? I can tell you.
Yes,
have a Game Pass
Karen, I've
subscription.
never heard of this thing. What is this thing that
You
you
do not have to tell
say?
me about Game Pass. It's how I've played Halo. It's how I've played Forza. It's how I've played Psychonauts. It's how I've played.
Yeah.
I would have played It Takes Two via it if I didn't buy it.
I know.
But also, Pete, right, on this conversation, I also bring up the fact that you've mentioned, you like a PC, you want a PlayStation and such. There's something kind of similar to this, right? Just when we were mentioning it, Sony being forced out of our comfort zone, so to speak. I think I saw a story about, I think it was the God of War director, someone in the God of War team, said how apparently a bunch of Sony studios have been asking to get Sony games on PC.
I know they have.
And Sony still reserve the right to make that decision. But but that coupled with this thing that, you know, that he has, like Jim Ryan's, essentially his company's breaking his ethos of, you know, generational thingy, whatever, you know.
Yeah, because there is no such thing as a generation on PC.
Yeah, and no, but not just that. The fact that they're having to backtrack in so many things they said they not necessarily wouldn't do. I mean, some instances, yes, they said they wouldn't do, but others where you wouldn't expect it from because they've never really done it before, they're starting to do. Obviously, with PlayStation games coming to PC, it's always been like, what, a year after release, I think, for God of War anyway. Maybe a little longer than that.
Death Stranding was about 18 months, I think. Or no, it was 6 months after it came out in 2020.
Yeah.
But it also wasn't developed by Kojima Productions. It was 505 Games. So it was a dedicated PC team that actually dealt with it. Also, Sony have been acquiring PC developers.
Yeah, but you think about how, again, look at Xbox and how almost every Xbox exclusive is on PC day one at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they know fine well that they have a market on both systems, and they're going to probably make more by releasing both systems. And you think about how high quality Sony games are. You know, I would love to play the new God of War day one. You know, I'm tempted to buy a new God of War on PC now that it's coming out on PC. I think it is. Yeah, I think it is already out.
It is on PC, yeah.
Yeah, I'm tempted to get that, and especially, you know, if they bring Spider-Man over, I'm absolutely getting Spider-Man on my computer.
I do hope so. I hope they actually have a complete package with that.
Yeah, but it's that way. This is me, who, you know, hasn't on the PlayStation since PlayStation 2, saying, Sony, I will happily buy your games if you bring them to a system other than the PlayStation.
Yeah.
You know, because you know, Pete, unlike yourself, I'm content only having my computer and my Xbox.
Fair enough.
That's what will do me.
So what you're telling me from this whole discussion is that box number 1, the white behemoth, and the black behemoth next to it are a waste of money, and the only thing that should actually be there is Mr. Redbox Switch, because it's the only place I can play something exclusive.
On a PC with Game Pass.
Thanks for that.
Listen, like console exclusivity, right? No, it's a touchy subject. Because I wouldn't say it shouldn't exist, right? But
it's not a touchy subject at all. I don't think it is.
Listen, right, I'm just saying, right? See, again, you look at practices. I say like practices. You're right with Nintendo not really dishing out too many other games on other systems, right?
They won't.
But we know there's been some cooperation between Nintendo and Xbox in the past, and I'm pretty sure there's not like rumored cooperation going on.
There has been, but the collaboration that we've mostly had with Microsoft is Moon Studios putting the Ori games onto the Switch. Well, they're not owned by Microsoft, so that doesn't count. And Studio MDHR putting Cuphead on there, and they're also not owned by Microsoft either. So the biggest collaboration is putting Banjo-Kazooie into Smash and Minecraft Steve, and then getting a couple of N64 games on there that look like complete trash.
See, right, the way I see it, right, now I'm not saying console exclusives should be a thing in the past, they shouldn't be, but console exclusive, right, because again, as I said, Microsoft are releasing their games on PC as well as Xbox. right?
Yeah.
Well, and the most part, anyway. I know, I'm sure there's probably some that aren't, right? But most of them have been. In the same way, the Xbox are now also exclusively producing games for the PC as well. You know, you think about. Well, no, I say that no, because there's
They're
been a lot.
not really now, are they? Because
Yeah, yeah,
apart from maybe Age of Empires.
yeah. I was going to say Age of Empires like being one of them. Like games built for PC by Microsoft are also coming to console now as well. But it's that way. Like, I think PC is nice, like neutral territory. You know, because not every right, you think about the cost of a gaming PC, at least a high quality gaming PC compared to getting a Series X
Oh, it's
or
ridiculous. Yeah,
a
it's like
PlayStation. You know,
probably triple the price.
so obviously, you know, making like I just don't see these companies releasing things on PC as detrimental because again, not as many people can have a computer as they do. No, not in terms of average person at least. The average person is probably going to buy a console rather than a computer because it's cheaper and they're guaranteed to have a strong system there.
Oh,
You know,
sure. I completely understand that standpoint, but it's actually like the exclusives that do sell those units. You know.
exactly.
And
Yeah, but that's my point. So then they say,
yeah.
well,
So,
here's what a console's offering.
but then by having them on PC, it sort of dilutes that pool a little bit. Like I have no problem with it. I'd much rather have there be more options for gamers to play good games. You know,
Mhm.
having God of War on PC is a great idea for people like yourself who are mostly like geared towards Microsoft like systems. Like, I'm not saying you're a fanboy. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that at
yeah.
all. But
It's
you are.
most of the
But you,
Allegiance thing. I've been with them for that long. You know, it's just
yeah.
like to go back. That's all it is.
Well, yeah, I have allegiances as well, and it's mostly to Nintendo, so which is why I still buy their consoles. It's not like I'm sitting there going, I really want one of their games on PC because if I can, there is such a thing as emulators. Not saying, not saying it's illegal or anything, but
The weird thing is when you said emulators, that just sounded like a robot there.
I did.
well, that was kind of the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's honestly, there is nothing stopping me from taking my Switch cartridge that I have bought, decompiling all those files, and playing it on an emulator. It is legal, technically. Because I have
It's legal. Technically.
because I have bought a copy of the game. There is nothing stopping me from creating a digital copy of it to play elsewhere. There is nothing in the TOS that says you can't do that.
Yeah.
But that I'm still not going to get the same experience as I get on through that method than I would be playing it natively on the Switch itself, because you're missing things like the haptic feedback, you're missing some of the gyro controls, you're missing some features that are there for that console.
Yeah.
But I do believe in having a little bit more variety. You know, having God of War on PC is a great idea for someone like yourself. You know, I'm there because I want to see what crazy mods people do with it. And I think that's half of the reason why Sony are looking into obviously doing stuff on PC is that it reaches a wider audience. And that's not a bad thing.
Mhm.
It's just that, they are essentially, by doing so, they are kind of diluting their console exclusives, which is the reason why people buy their consoles.
But again, that's what I'm saying. The same way, like I play, obviously it's not kind of the same, but I play most of my Xbox exclusives on my Xbox. I wouldn't want to play my Xbox exclusives really on my PC. I think the only Xbox, the kind of Microsoft exclusive thing I've played on my computer is like kind of like I think Age of Empires, maybe. Yeah, played Age of Empires. Sea of Thieves, you can't get in a
Oh,
PlayStation or anything.
No.
That's really that. Everything else, Halo, everything, I want to play on a console. Because at the same time, where a high quality PC can probably run things a Series X can. PC still not as I don't want to say not as reliable because if you pay the money, it's going to be reliable. But you know what I mean? Like consoles, an easier, affordable choice for a lot of people.
Okay.
See,
Well, that was
I
going to bring up
agree.
my next point. Is
yeah.
actually that it's for those people who aren't technologically sound, who like the
Right.
idea of just buying a box, it's ready to go, and you don't have to optimize anything.
It just works.
There you go. I like that option. Having that option's good. But for those tech-minded people who love messing around with settings, having games on PC is fantastic. It's great for that reason. And to be honest with you, I kind of want to do it myself. You know, which is why I want a PC. I'd like to have more options available to me because there are games that only come out on Steam or on PC. That means that I'm missing out on some. Fine.
Power Wash Simulator? Ugh, Pete, you're missing so much.
I played Lawn Mowing Simulator because it
Not
was
the
on a
same.
console. No, I don't care. I played it because it was on the console and it was on
Right.
Game Pass. I wouldn't have played it otherwise.
Yes.
It was a laugh. It was quite a laugh. I cut my grass too short. Doesn't matter anyway. But yeah, I just like for me, like I'm in this weird space at the moment where I think that consoles should exist, like absolutely, and console exclusives are a nice thing to have. Having more variety is also a great thing. I think it can only benefit the gamers, but I think the only problem with that is that you'll start to see dwindling numbers on those exclusive like consoles, or the consoles that have the exclusives.
But that's what I'm saying though, like compared to like the price of like an Xbox Series X and a PlayStation 5, a PC, a good PC is still like 2 to 3 times more than buying those consoles, you know?
Yeah, I think upgrading them, like you have to upgrade them every
Yeah,
couple of
that's
years,
what
whereas a console
that's what I'm
generation
saying.
is like
I don't see
7
numbers
years.
dropping that much. Because realistically, I'd say in terms of the average population of people that play games, you know, not heavy hardcore gamers or anything, they're gonna get a console more than a
Yeah, they
PC.
they probably will, but you will see a lot more of the hardcore
Yeah.
gamers moving towards PC, like yourself.
I know one of my buddies from school, like he moved to PC a while back. I don't think he's got a console since, but he only really plays like PC games now. To be fair, but
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like I certainly wouldn't buy a PC just because I know I can get both PlayStation and Xbox games on it. That's not enough for me to then
Yeah.
spend like nearly like £1,500 on a computer that I'd
Sure.
need to keep upgrading years after myself.
hmm
And parts that for some parts that will cost the same as a next gen console.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a graphic.
Yeah,
Jesus.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I can see where you're coming from, Pete, but at the same time, I just think the price of it compared to the ease of just getting a console, no, I don't see that. But anyway, I think we're getting sidetracked because
I think, well, yeah, once I think once those PlayStation games come day and date on PC as well as on the console, if they're released on the same day, you might see something different out of this, I reckon.
Yeah, but we're getting a bit off track because when it story came out, you know, I was thinking, you know, is this a bad thing? You know,
Right.
the scrapping of the end of production
That's
of old consoles.
what I
But the
want
more I
to
think
talk
about it, right, if I am in a position where I'm just getting into gaming, say over the pandemic, like a lot of people got into gaming over the pandemic,
hmm
and I'm like, right, I'm gonna get myself an actual console. I'm gonna get myself a big console, right? I I wouldn't want to get myself a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One X, say, when I know that they're going to be obsolete incredibly soon. So that the whole story about apparently PlayStation making new PS4s supposedly to, you know, make up for the lack of PS5s doesn't make sense to me because I want to be playing the newest stuff the best way possible. You know, even
Yeah.
if I'm just a casual player that wants to play some cool games on a console, I'm going to want the best kind of kit I can get
Oh
console
yeah, of
wise.
course.
So
I
that's one reason I don't see how they think that's a good idea. And at the same time, I can see why Microsoft has stopped production of Xbox
Yeah.
One because you know, I think the whole point of the series of Xbox consoles, you know, the S and X, a big thing they were pushing was that it's the most affordable
Yeah.
console they've brought
Yeah,
out, and that's very, especially S. As
Mhm.
much as the S has its problems,
that's what I mean.
like
Like, bearing in
it's
mind, like,
affordable.
yeah, I mean, you could go and buy a Series S for £249. This is
Mhm.
not an advertisement, by the way. You could buy one for £249, but yet a One X is still over £300.
Exactly.
And admittedly, I bought a One X like when the Series X had been announced. But obviously, hardware shortages have meant that it's not been able to get one quite as easily, especially if you want a disk drive, which I know there are a lot of people out there who want that disk drive.
Yeah, it's because much as I wanted to say disc drive was that a part of me getting a Series X, it was more the hard drive space.
Yeah, that was the one thing where I think Sony had done the right thing in terms of their console this time around with the PS5 by offering the same hardware, the same everything, but just not having a disc drive. One's a digital console, one's not. Microsoft didn't take that angle. They probably should have done and gone, yeah, we'll have a 1 terabyte SSD in there, just no disc drive, and yeah, it can do all the same things that the Series X can do. I think they made a bit of a boo boo there with that one, if I'm honest.
Well, shoulda, woulda, coulda. What's done is done.
I know, but then that obviously opens the door for them to create the Xbox Series SX.
I suppose the SS would be a bit problematic.
Yeah, it would be. The slightly larger hard drive, having basically all the bells and whistles as a Series X, just without the actual disc drive. And yes, I
See if you're saying it would be the Series SX, would that then make the Series X the Series SXL?
Oh my god!
Just by that logic, Peter, I'm just trying to work this out.
No, that would make the Series X just the Series X. When they decide to upgrade the Series X, it'll probably be the Series XX.
I mean, they could do it in alphabetical order, so you've got like S and you've got the X. So why not do like the Series W?
The Series T.
The Series W for Series Wumbo.
Series Win.
No, Wumbo.
Yes.
Wumbo combo.
Anyway. I'm making a reference, and I don't think anyone's getting it.
Well, there's
I made a reference to a Wumbo combo. That's about it.
But
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, fine.
There's also Wumbo Rod as well, Ciaran.
What?
I don't know.
And the Shimmering, I know you don't, but in the Shimmering Isles DLC of Oblivion, there is a weapon called a Wumbo Rod. And allows you to turn people into rabbits, I think.
Well, there's a fun fact for today, folks.
Yes.
Yes, there was.
It's probably one of my most favorite DLCs.
Hey, this one.
Do I?
Okay.
Pete, continue.
Right, I'm going to introduce this larger news story, and then I must pop for 1 second to go and do something.
Okay.
Oh.
We'll keep the people entertained.
Now you'll see in a moment what I have to do. Anyway, so we're going to kick into the bigger stories. So I'm going to cover this one first because I want to know what your two thoughts on it is, of course. So there's been a report by VentureBeat recently stating that the ESA are considering cancelling the in-person E3 event with a shift back to being online focused for like it was in 2021. However, upon searching these news stories, there is a lot of articles out there saying this is online only, online only, online only. There's been nothing actually outright stated by the ESA or E3 themselves about whether or not they're even running an event this year. So I want to know what your two thoughts about this is. Is E3 obsolete? Is it necessary to even run an online event like they did with EGX in 2020 or 2021? Sorry. Being online only, or do you feel like this is they're just going to annex this entire year like they did 2020? So, discuss. I will be back.
Okay, right. Well, I mean, if anyone listening, are watching for that matter, pays any attention to gaming Twitter, you will know that a lot of big people in the games industry, journalists, developers, let's say personalities, if that's what we call Jeff Kiley, there was a lot of people in the games world and industry saying E3's dead. I think that was a hashtag that was going around, E3 dead.
Saw that.
Yep. And is that a bad thing? Because right, I think one of my fondest memories of like growing up playing games was watching the E3 events. I couldn't be there, but even just like seeing all the announcements on stage. I mean, just think about more recently, right, with the Keanu Reeves appearance.
Oh gosh,
the Xbox One. Look how iconic that
game.
Exactly. Look how iconic that moment, was. But it's in the same way, that's not something I think you can get for an online event. You can't get that from a straight online showcase. You can't. And that's why I think having these in-person events is great. You know, and it was always a dream. I think everyone had that kind of dream to be in the crowd for a big
Oh, yeah.
reveal. You know,
Yeah.
because it's just imagine the vibes. You know,
Oh,
the vibes
gosh,
be so
yeah.
immaculate.
I'm pretty sure everyone wanted to be in the crowd at a Bethesda one until they started paying people to get drunk and hooping on wallet.
They wouldn't have to
hooping
pay
like
me.
idiots.
But, yes.
But
I know they wouldn't.
yeah.
You're Bethesda's biggest shill.
Also, drinking's biggest shill. But no,
And
I
that too.
have to agree. Agree with Ciaran that, like, I secretly always, not even secretly, I just always wanted to be a part of that audience. That was kind of like a goal, a private internal goal. So
Well, had it not been for the fact that basically this whole thing's been annexed, I have considered in numerous occasions, like I did with Vegas and going to Evo, I was considering trying to get a ticket to go to E3 one year.
yeah,
But yeah, that ain't happening now.
It's like, I mean, we've seen right that Sony, PlayStation, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo are capable and are willing to do their own showcase events. May not be in person, but they can do it without E3,
yeah,
which
Tell
makes
you what,
which makes a wholly online E3 event, if you ask me, pointless. Especially when you know, I think the last event was a cluster
mess.
thing, cluster mess, yes. When nobody knew if an event was part of Summer Games Fest or E3, because both were running more or less at the same time.
yeah.
But that's a problem with Jeff Keighley, though, I'm afraid to say. Like, he had a bit of a falling out with the ESA and tried to one-up them in everything he did with Summer Games Fest. Just look at how it was when this initial report came out. 2 minutes after that announcement came out, what did
Summer
he
Games
tweet?
Fest. Yeah.
Summer Games Fest
Summer
is
Games Fest.
still here and
I
in
did see that.
person. What a...
Well, that is a business,
basically.
but that's a businessman for you.
I know he is, but
He's just a businessman doing business.
We've had
Doing business
kinds
things at business.
You know what we've had to say about Jeff Shealy.
I know.
I like Jeff.
I don't.
Jeff's a real personality. I really like Jeff. Like he's your everyman. I can see myself in Jeff. You know, because you know, seeing that man get excited about games is exactly how I get excited about games. I mean, he's more excited about Elden Ring than I am, right? But
He definitely is.
the same way he shared the same sentiment that many Elden Ring fans have. You know, he's a guy like you and me, Pete.
All right. Let me ask you this then: is it easy to fake feelings of feeling excited when someone has placed a large bag of money in front of you?
I mean, if I'm a sociopath, it's very easy, yeah. I don't know. I don't know the inner workings of Jeff Keighley's mind.
Money. That's all it is. That's all you need to know. If my event gets money, I'm happy. If a big enough developer gives me a big bag of cash to include a trailer on my presentation, I'm gonna take it, and I'm not gonna call out any publisher that might have been doing some wrongdoings. Because screw them, I want the money. That's what Jeff Keighley's whole mentality is.
I do think he should have been harsher on the people.
But
that
Activision.
are bad.
Oh yeah, listen. That's all.
Yeah.
Kind of ones.
Already said it on our game awards discussion. Already said that was his biggest cock up, actually.
But anyway, we're getting off track.
We are off track again.
No, but it does fall into the whole ESA thing because obviously
it does
ESA had a huge falling out. Bearing in mind, right, we have to look at what E3 was before this pandemic, right? E3 was this massive in-person event. It was a huge spectacle. Like, it mostly was a trade show. Like,
well, that's what it started out as.
They then decided, obviously, to then make it in person with fans being there.
Yeah, but obviously, was that not like just before, not just before the pandemic, is in like that's when it was going to happen. But like I think it was not like a couple of years
No.
before that's when fans could come.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
There was like, I think it was either 2018
It wasn't
or
open to the
2019.
Yeah, that's
public.
the
First one where
Mhm.
they had fans back since
Yeah.
1995 or something along those lines when
Yeah,
it
yeah,
first started.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they just start letting fans come into it
Mhm.
again,
Yeah, but
and then the pandemic happened, and now we don't know where they stand. I mean,
Mhm.
but again,
then
people are saying we know where they stand. They don't
Mm.
stand at all. They're lying in a empty ditch somewhere.
no, no, I was sort of going along the lines of I had to summarise the few things that the ESA had done that had turned some heads, obviously, to mean why E3 is pretty much obsolete at this point for me. You know, so in 2018 or 2019, whenever it was, they started bringing fans back, meaning that lines were stupidly long. And I've
They were.
heard people talking about waiting 8 hours for a demo. That's ridiculous. That is utterly stupid. I'm not going to say that the press should get preferential treatment, but if they are doing hands-on previews that go out to the vast majority of people, that's free advertisement for the publishers. They are going to take that every time over someone who has paid for a ticket, you know. But then the ESA completely screwed the pooch in 2019 by doxing nearly every single person that went
Oh,
there.
they messed that up
All
so
the
bad.
media people all got bloody doxed by the ESA.
Yeah, that
which
was.
is utterly moronic, ridiculous, and stupid. So that had already ruined the confidence that most would
Isn't
have
that why
in
Sony
E3
pulled
as
out?
No, Sony pulled out long before that.
Oh.
That was the
Somebody did, though.
2018. No, that was the 2018 E3 where they were shoved outside in a tent for Ghost of Tsushima reveal, then had to move inside to go and do the rest of their stuff.
Yeah, that's
Meaning there was a 25-minute lull with people just sitting at desk going, what did we just see there? And them not even knowing what the instrument that was being played when they
Oh,
revealed
that's
Ghost
right.
of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Their whole
was
Sony
weird. It was
conference
weird.
was an absolute S show that year, and they pulled out as a result of it. Nintendo had the wherewithal so many years ago to go, yeah, we're still gonna deal with E3 and the ESA, but it's digital only, and we can record that at any time we want and put it out to everyone. Their only E3 presence was actually being at the show floor for the Treehouse. They pretty much had stopped dealing with E3 as in that respect. So the only contributor really that they had from the three big ones was Microsoft. And where was E3 being held? In the Microsoft Theatre.
Yeah. Microsoft owns so much.
So going
They
back to the Tascam, though,
do.
like, what do you think about the idea that E3 is just gonna die?
E3's dead. E3's dead. I said it a couple of years ago. I think E3 is dead. I
And
don't think it's not needed anymore.
well,
The-
but then how do you then see kind of video game kind of events? Let's just generalize them,
how
like being looking ahead then in an E3-less world. How
how
do you
we've
think?
seen how we've seen in the last 2 years during the pandemic. Sony will have the state of plays, Nintendo will have the Nintendo Directs like they've been doing, and Microsoft will have the odd conference here and there when they feel like wanting to reveal something.
Do you think they're going to try and have
Also,
do you
hang
see
on, sorry,
do you see
wait,
it being
wait,
like,
wait, wait. I got one other thing to add with that because I did forget about something. Need to mention it. Microsoft have the XO conference that they can use.
I see. Yes. I'm not gonna lie, Peter, I don't know what XO conference is.
It usually happens in September. It's solely focused on Microsoft's
Oh, that's
upcoming
their.
projects.
Yeah, that's their weird. Yeah, where they show their weird stuff.
I wouldn't say it's their weird stuff,
Like
but
their
it is more of a,
hologram weird
yeah.
living
It's
room
it's
thing.
not just solely focused on the gaming side. It
Right,
is to
no,
do with
it's-
the whole of Microsoft as
Yeah.
as an entity basically. It's
Yeah.
just it's called XO because the the Xbox brand seems to be a big seller, really.
I mean, yeah. But see on that note, Pete, so obviously we've got states of play and stuff, right? But see, without E3 being the big in-person platform for these companies, do you think we're going to start seeing these companies try to do in-person kind of, say, like 2-day events?
I can't really see it happening because whilst E3 is not really happening, you still have the major events elsewhere with it throughout the year. That means that they can still get some, like worldwide recognition and spotlights on them, like TGS, Gamescom. Even to a certain degree, now we've got a couple of big ones happening this year in the UK with EGX Birmingham, EGX London at different
Yeah,
times of the year. But we've also got the WASD conference that's going on at the Tobacco Docks in April, which has been set up
yeah,
by the old Eurogamer group.
yeah. But I think I think it's safe to say that E3 was, like, in terms of scale at least, the big one,
Yeah, it
wasn't it? We
was.
can all agree it was
It's
the big one. Do you think anyone's going to try and step in to fill those shoes? Think about Summer Games Fest with Jeff, for example.
yes, Summer Games Fest. It's there.
So
It's
you
already there.
do you think that Jeff is going to try and just completely supplant them?
Yeah, he's already tried to start annexing them already. Like he's basically one-upping them every time that they're trying to do something. He's pretty much undercutting them all the time.
Mm.
So I don't feel there's a need for E3 anymore because you've got other people willing to do the job for cheaper. Because that's one thing that most people don't seem to understand about E3 is how much it costs a publisher to actually get their game there. Like in terms of the display on the show floor, the presence, the advertisement. Apparently, like they were being quoted like tens of millions of dollars for floor space at E3.
My goodness.
Exactly. That whole event apparently used to cost over hundreds of millions of dollars to produce. That is something that the ESA cannot afford to do anymore.
See,
And with the rise of cloud gaming as well, that means that demos can be available on the cloud for a select period of time for anybody to play despite not being on the show floor.
see, I think if I have any closing thoughts on this, is that E3, I think is a bit. I think it is, you know, on its last legs, definitely. But at the same time, as I mentioned at the start of this, I think there's something about the live in person events
Yeah.
that is just magical at times. To be a bit cringy about it. And I would really hate to see that go away. So I really do hope if E3 does die off, someone or something takes its
Yeah.
place to give us those kind of moments.
Yeah, I want it to be stated. I used to love E3 back in the day. Like it was
Yeah,
always the hypest moment of the year for me. It was always like, oh yeah, June's rolling around. Okay, I'm going to book a couple of days off work. I'm going to stay up late and watch all the
yeah,
conferences. The 2 a.m. Sony conference was always one I would watch. And it was always fun. I always used to love it and sitting there and analyzing it and talking about it with mates. It was always one of the best things in the calendar year. So that's not to say that I'm not sad about E3 potentially going down the route of the dodo, but I'm afraid to say it's now outdated and has to be gone because it doesn't work anymore. I don't think. I really don't think it works, and I think far too many people have lost faith in the ESA to even run a decent event without actually doxing the people that go. Kylie, you got any thoughts on this one before we close?
Um,
Oh God.
well, I mean, I'm gonna have a slight bias because I'm dying to host my own sort of in-person event thing,
Yeah.
but I can't. So I don't want to see in-person events go by the wayside. But I'm
Mm.
also very logical and rational, and I know that I think their time is passing. I don't think it's gone yet.
No, because sorry, just to sort of get into there, I just wanted to add one little point to that: why the in-person events probably won't go because it's the social aspect of why people go.
We'll see. And this is the thing. I think that um if E3, and they're people that puts them on, can focus on a smaller venue that's more exclusive, so you feel more special getting into it, but also provides an entertaining experience, then I think it can kind of morph from that.
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years. Because I worry that it's dead. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I think we covered that in some degree of length, did we not?
Oh yes.
So let's move on to something that is also quite long in length. And I'm talking about the hours spent on the game itself. Dying
yeah.
Light 2. You love my segues, didn't you?
Well, it's beautiful, Pete. It's a work of art.
Come on, I thought that was quite good.
I said it was a work of art.
No, you sounded really sarcastic about it, though.
Me, sarcastic, never. I just don't know what you're talking about. But
No, I'm an American. I don't understand sarcasm.
it's true. But I think we should open this. I don't know. I'm not taking over here, but I think we should mention the games that we've played that are longer than 500 hours.
Oh, we're going to get into that. Don't you worry about that. I just think we should probably summarize the story.
Oh,
first, so
yeah.
people actually know what we're talking
I guess we
about.
should do that. I guess we
This
are
is
supposed to
why
inform.
I aggregate the news and you do not.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway, so there has been a tweet that has come out from the developers of Dying Light 2, and this is where I made my update earlier, and it's Techland. Stalker 2 is not created by Techland, so apologies for that minor mess up there. Anyway, so they put out a tweet that seems to have courted a lot of controversy in the fact that to do a full completionist run on Dying Light 2 will take you roughly around 500 hours, which is essentially similar of a walk from Warsaw to Madrid, which is exactly what they said in their tweet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be fair, on a walk from Warsaw to Madrid, you can't kill zombies and parkour across buildings.
I
probably
mean, you might, but you might not
Depends
make
on
it.
Depends on what you mean by zombies.
You
That's
might get
true.
arrested.
No, let's not get into that.
No, that's going down some conspiracy roads that I don't really want to go down at the moment. So, yeah, this caused a lot of problems in the community with them saying that we don't have enough time to play these games, for this amount of time. Do they not understand we have families? Was the vast majority of thing that I saw. Do they not understand that I have a job?
Don't get me
I'm a reviewer. You spent 500 hours before like. I'm going to get into that, right?
I'm
Yeah,
dying here.
yeah.
I'm dying.
Like, I see people say, "Oh, you shouldn't do a review until you've done everything."
Let's get into that in a bit because there is an addendum I need to add to this because
Okay.
a couple of days later, those developers then came out and clarified their stance on it and said this is full 500 hours for full completion, literally everything that you can do and see in the game. Story mode the story will roughly take you about 20 hours, whereas all the side quests could take you up to 100 to 120 hours. I mean, it's still a fair chunk of the game.
See, I quite like that though. I think it's quite impressive that the side content can take you up so much.
Mm-hmm.
I actually quite like that.
So do I, actually.
Especially,
what you're going to do.
Yeah, especially in a game where I'm pretty sure they've said that like, is that whole thing like choices matter. I'm pretty sure they're trying to lean heavily into that with Dying Light 2. Apparently, your choices really do influence the world.
Now,
So
funnily enough,
like
coming back to how it was revealed at, yes, E3, that was the first point in which the trailer said it was everything you do will influence the decisions made in the world.
So I mean, realistically, when you think about it, doing that side content is it's pretty mandatory if you want the best experience.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still not $500, thank God.
I don't understand what the hell is going to be in there that's 500 hours if it's not like side content. If it's not side quest, then what the hell is taking you 500 hours?
Online multiplayer?
No, I don't.
That
I don't
wouldn't
think
give
it
you a
is.
completionist run though, would it?
Yeah, I think.
The thing about online multiplayer is it's got no goal in mind. It's just
unless
play.
there's achievements or something.
I mean, achievements.
Ooh,
yeah,
actually, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're an achievement hunter, yeah, but I think that's a very odd thing for them to include, to even like consider, right? Because when I think about them, even like thinking that mentioning that the game's 500 hours to complete, I think it's a bit weird to even come out and say that only. I think whoever was in charge of like coming up with releasing like game length, they must have like went with the mentality that more is better. Which in a lot of instances it is. I like to have a lot of content to work through, especially in a single player game. You know, when a single player games cost as much as multiplayer games, I want to be getting this roughly the same amount of time out of both. You know, at least a good portion of time out of the single player purchase. So, but I think they've gone into this thinking, oh, you know, more's better. Say to them, you're going to get 500 hours of content. Now, he didn't say that specifically. I think it said 500 hours of content. It'd be different, but even then, the response probably still would have been as it was. Because again, who has 500 hours? I mean, right, but then we're going to go into the
I
games.
was gonna say,
because I was going to say, right,
I'm itching here.
the way I see, because again, they might have specified. I mean, P, I don't know if you saw it. There was an infographic.
I've got
They
it here.
put out. Yeah,
Yeah,
does it
I'm
does it
just about to
say?
mention this because I've made a bit of a boo boo with some of the an error judgment with some of the information. It was 80 hours, not 100 hours.
So 8 hours for story plus
Uh,
side
Time needed to finish the main story and all of the side quests.
is 80.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point, but considering you're getting 60 hours out of the side content, then really.
Yeah. Okay.
That's...
So this was what they stated underneath the 500 hours. It says time needed to max out the game with all the main and side quests, choices and endings, checking every place on the map, every dialogue, and finding every collectible.
Yeah, so I was going to say the only way I can see them being 500 hours is multiple playthroughs because of the choices. So that's clarified it. Yeah, I can see that. Considering, right, because I'm going to bring up a comparison here. So Witcher 3 has 3, 4, maybe 5 endings. Again, I don't know specifics. I know I've had at least 3 endings in Witcher 3. And if I remember right, I think it was my second playthrough of The Witcher 3. I worked it out. A full playthrough of The Witcher 3 for me, like this is just like base story and like side content. This isn't even Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone. Was about 100 hours.
Yeah.
And so you think about like 3 players, that's 300 hours, and then you add on Blood and Wine, and Hearts of Stone, and Blood and Wine could be its own game. I'm a strong believer in the fact that Blood and Wine is far better than the main game. I think Blood and Wine is one of the best fantasy RPGs on the market. Which is great that you can load up Witcher 3 and just go straight into Blood and Wine if you want. I think that's just great.
We've now come back full circle to the beginning of the show. Well done.
Yes. But no, I just think it's going back to my earlier point there. I just think that's weird. Why didn't they just say? Why didn't they just put the infographic? They could have easily put the infographic to say, here's the game length. If you want to do all this stuff for completionists, you're going to spend. They could do a quirky little thing like for any completionists out there, we've got a lot. There's a lot for you to walk through or something. And then that's when people look at infographic. They see, right, it's those 2 hours, 8 hours for that and side content. Pretty good for a single player game, especially when you think about multiple playthroughs coming into play. And then 500 hours, and that's when people go, whoa, 500 hours? Like, that's a challenge. But I don't think it would have received as much backlash because people know from the get-go they can complete a story in 20 hours. And if it were the side content, it is nowhere near 500. Why they decided to... The first number they released would be the 500 hours. For things as small as like getting collectibles and exploring every part of the map as well.
I think I might understand the reasoning behind it. I wouldn't say it was a humble brag about the content and the size of the world itself, but it was clearly a way of them trying to show how many things there are actually available for you to do in the game. That you'll have this variety of content.
But I wouldn't even class it as content though, because realistically, right. I reckon the way they've described it in infographic, Pete, it sounds a lot to me like it is about you doing multiple playthroughs to get different outcomes through your choices and thus different endings, right?
Well, that's what I mean.
You're running through the exact same content
though, aren't they?
Yeah, but fundamentally, right? To get those 500 of those, you'll be running through the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah, you'll probably do the story like 5 times in that.
Right, the story, but even then, surely like. There'll be like, I don't know how many options. I don't know if it'll be a straight this option from certain things, right? I don't know if there's going to be a whole plethora of options that you get or different routes. But at the same time, you'll be doing the same side quests. Fundamentally, you'll be doing the same story, same quests to get those 500 hours played.
Yeah,
You know.
I think if it's like with most games that have binary choices, in the fact that you know the choices you make obviously shape the game. The biggest example is probably Mass Effect. Let's say,
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah. Mass Effect, yeah.
they only have three choices.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's few scenarios. I say few. There's quite a few
Yeah,
scenarios actually. Mass
the
Effect has
I've
Paragon
always
and
seen
Renegade.
dialogue options. There's only ever usually three dialogue options, which means that there
But
are
then
only
they break off
the,
into trees.
they can break off into trees, obviously, but your initial binary choice is down to a free choice.
That's not a
Yeah,
binary choice.
You know what I mean?
Just
very
saying.
you're very limited in your choice point of there's set
Yeah,
responses and such. Because that's the thing when people say like oh branching narratives, you know, they're limited in where they go.
yeah.
There's some games that you get really interesting. I think Mass Effect does it well, especially with Legendary Edition now being a thing where you can easily carry your save over from 1 to 2, and that really impacts the story, especially if characters died. And like Mass Effect 2 to 3, right? That's a big one, for example. Like because the end of Mass Effect 2 obviously is the big suicide mission, and there's a high chance that someone will die unless you do things right. Going
Spoilers.
it, it's been out for years,
But
right?
yeah,
Look,
but it's only just got onto Game Pass, and I might have actually
No,
mildly considered playing it.
it yeah
Pete.
it
That was a joke. For
Yes,
fuck's sake.
right. But the point is, like Mass Effect, and there's very few games I've seen like do similar. I mean, there probably is games out there that do it, but the idea that you can carry a save over, with the choices in that influence the actual choices available to you in the follow up, I think it's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. It's actually a time when a promised feature that was supposed to be in another Xbox game actually got delivered by a company that was not Lionhead Studio.
yeah yeah
It's the
yeah.
same. I'm pretty sure they've done the same for it. Like Bioware done the same for Dragon Age. I'm
Oh
pretty sure
yeah,
Dragon Age.
they're
Yeah,
all
Yeah,
the
they
same.
yeah.
did Knights as well.
Did they?
Well, I had
Which,
Knights of the
which,
Old
which,
Republic 1 and
which,
2.
did they? All right. Oh, that would make sense because there's reference to the event. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure is two not like quite a bit after the first though, or like
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that
recent
some of the
time.
choices that you made at the end of the game in KOTOR 1 did have an effect on the world of 2.
I suppose it would if you remember the endings. Yeah, I suppose. I was going to say Dragon Age has it as well.
Mhm.
So that's
Oh,
Bioware, but
it's more prominent in Dragon Age than it is
yeah, I'm
in
pretty sure
KOTOR.
an Inquisition, Dragon Age Inquisition. Um, Before you load the game, you can actually load up
Mhm.
what's called a world state, and then that's what you can. I think if you go on the like Origin website or like the EA like Bioware website, you can choose. You can basically craft your own world state if you haven't played Dragon Age Origins or two.
Yeah, so you can basically take all the choices that were available in the previous games to
Yeah,
create a world that was how you
and,
would
yeah,
personally play them.
and of course, there's like very few, you know, recurring characters in Inquisition from previous games.
Does
There's
this
some,
mean?
but like nothing in the scale of Mass Effect where like
All right.
significant crew members would not appear because they're dead at
Yeah.
all. You know,
Yeah.
which I think made Inquisition and having a unique world state Inquisition
Hmm.
incredibly interesting. Like, I mean, I do think Dragon Age is more in depth with how choices really impacted the story.
Yeah.
I remember Dragon Age 2 specifically. The opening section, I remember watching a video on YouTube about the opening section, and someone had a completely different opening section Dragon Age 2 to me, and I had no idea how they'd done it. I'm pretty sure I tried looking up, and it wasn't anything to do with like carrying a save over
All
from
right.
Dragon Age 1. It was just, I just don't know how they achieved it, but it's that way, there's so many little intricacies. And I hope Dying Light 2 has it, but that would also, going back to Dying Light 2, explain where you get 500 hours of replayability as well. If there is that level of intricacy to like
Hmm.
your choices in it, which makes me more excited for the game than I am or I
Yeah.
was.
I think that was the thing that people took misconstrued about it actually was that yeah, I haven't got the time to play a 500 hours. But how many people do you really know that are full completionists?
I always start out as if I'm gonna be one, and then I just get bored.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, how many people are like really that interested in a full completionist run? I can't say I know anybody.
Yeah, it's like that way. I've never been a completionist. I just don't see the point in being a completionist. Like, I'll go
Yeah.
back to games that I went back to. I mean, like most people, I've been back to Skyrim, for example, many times. I've still not got every achievement in that game. I just play the game for fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But ever since like I started like following more video game people on Twitter, like I'm so surprised to see the amount of people that actually like, especially in PlayStation, where PlayStation you can get like
Yeah,
things
the
like platinum
platinum.
and that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I see so many people like casually just saying, right, that's me got platinum in this, that's me got so many platinums there. I'm like I just don't see the point. I just play a game to play a
It
game.
it
Yeah.
starts for me personally. It starts to take away from the actual enjoyment of the game because I mentioned it many times before. But like Red Dead Redemption 2, one of my favorite games. But in order for me to get the 100% done thing, I have to catch all the fish species, and I hate get in-game fishing on any game. And
I like fishing; it's relaxing.
oh, I don't have the patience for it because I want. And then you catch your fish, and it might be not a new one. So that takes away from the actual enjoyment of the game. So I just
Yeah.
gave up on that. I was like,
Oh, I
nah.
agree with that one. Like, I knew a guy back in the early days of the 360 who literally would brag that he had the highest gamer score out of any one of us, and
Back
I'm
in the
like,
360
dude,
days, yeah.
not everybody cares about achievements.
Back in the 360 days, though, I was a little bit more inclined to be that way.
Oh, yeah, I probably was. There
But
were a
not
couple of
nowadays.
achievements that I looked at and I went, yeah, I could go with that one because, I want that. But I wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to make sure I get 1,000 game score in every game because,
I
otherwise
think
you're a
the
sucky gamer if you don't.
I think the only time I've been annoyed about not, I've only ever really wanted to try and get all achievements. Currently, is with Fall Guys. I think I'm like 4 achievements off of completing every achievement. Is getting that infallible. I'm pretty sure infallible is you need to win like so many shows in a row without
Yeah,
fail,
yeah,
and that's damn near impossible.
yeah.
Like, just no. I bet it's that way. Like, I wouldn't actively seek that. I play Fall Guys just to play
You
Fall
know,
Guys. I like going for a good
Yeah,
time.
oh,
Go
it
off when I'm
is.
bored.
Yeah.
exactly.
Um,
So let's bring this up, shall we? Because I know Kylie wanted to talk about this. Any games that you've played for more than 500 hours, and why?
interesting.
Kylie, you go first because
You
you
want me to go
proposed this.
first? Okay. Well, we were doing the math yesterday, but I actually did some previous math. And apparently my modded version of Fallout 4, I have over 1,000 hours in.
Well, I mean, you had that game modded to a way that you actually made it fun for
Oh,
you
I
with
love
base
it.
building and all that sort of thing,
Yeah,
didn't you?
and cleaning up the wasteland and rebuilding it and repopulating it. Oh, I love all that.
Basically, you had Power Wash Fallout Simulator.
You could say a Minecraft and Power Wash simulator smushed together. Yes.
Yeah.
See, I think the most hours I got out of Fallout 4 was I was like 100 plus. Don't get me wrong. I did like a couple of playthroughs of Fallout
I've
4,
never
but
finished Fallout 4.
what?
I've never finished. Never
Oh
finished.
my god! And you've still got 1,000 hours.
Yeah. I
Oh,
quit on the
Kylie,
main.
I was going to say, why did you not
Because I
complete
hated
it?
the main quest. It was dumb and stupid. I could
No,
see
I
I could
actually,
see
I
where
mean,
it was
I liked it.
going. Could see
I
where it was
liked it.
going, and I didn't like it.
I mean, if you want the best storyline, you go with the railroad. But that's a whole other discussion.
And
Um,
that will warrant another discussion sometime.
yeah. But no, I think for me, I think a lot of people would have 500 hours plus in Skyrim. Let's be
Oh,
real.
I think so. You have to.
Can you?
It's just
I mean, cumulatively, at
yeah.
least.
Well, see, that's really what I wanted to talk
Cumulatively.
about. I wanted to
Not
talk
you,
about,
Pete.
not
Were you not
you.
a Skyrim man yourself?
I can tell you how many. Sorry, Kylie, to interrupt.
That's
I
fine. That's
apologise.
fine. That's fine.
I can tell you on one hand how many hours I have logged in Skyrim across 10 years or 11 at this point now. Sorry.
Right,
Indulge me.
Pete.
What? You've
I'm.
never played Skyrim?
Don't care for it.
Oh, come on.
No, I played Oblivion and I absolutely hated my experience.
Oh,
So I
why?
went, nah,
Do you-
and that was my first experience of a Bethesda
you hated-
RPG, and I went, nah, not
If
interested.
you hated Oblivion, you'll hate Skyrim.
There you go.
Do I know something, Pete? Right? When Skyrim came out, I remember my dad saying to me, just like, "Oh, son, this game looks really cool." Because obviously, but it got promoted a bit. That's what my dad knew about it. And I remember seeing it, and I was like, oh, Dad, I don't think I'd like this. I remember I was over at my auntie's for like some family thing. It might have been Christmas or something. My big cousin, he had it, and that was the first time I saw Skyrim. And I remember the scene him fight a dragon, and I was like 11, 12
You
at
would
the
have
time,
been, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I was like, that's so cool. And then I went, and then we got home, and I said to my dad, like, Dad, can I get that Skyrim game? And lo and behold, I got it for Christmas.
Of
So
course you did.
it was something before Christmas. I was at my auntie's for, but I did get it for Christmas that year. Yeah. So Pete, to be fair, I can maybe see. I suppose you've seen it as well, though. So if you've seen it and not liked it, fair enough. It's not for everyone.
Well, I
Certainly
know,
not.
I know it's
I
not. I
love it
don't.
so much.
I don't turn around and say,
I love
yeah,
Oblivion
you play
more, though.
Skyrim, whatever, you know. No,
I'd say
I understand its cultural like milestone. Really, I understand the importance it has to the
The
gaming
dragons
industry.
are so cool.
Yeah, especially when they fly backwards.
What?
There's a glitch
Talking
years ago
about-
when the game
yeah.
first came out.
And I got it on
They
day
used to
one
fly
release.
backwards.
I got it on day one release, and my horse got stuck in the cobblestones, like up to his like chest, and I was very sad because I had to kill my
Classic.
horse. But yeah, I mean, it's classic Bethesda. So
Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up with Bethesda games, so they weren't something that sort of appealed
Oh.
to me. I just
so
I didn't
excited.
enjoy Oblivion, like
Oh, I loved
the
Oblivion.
10 hours I played them. There's
Oof.
also another problem with it. At that point in my life, I could not even bother, like, or couldn't gear myself up to want to play an RPG. Now I'm
Right.
maybe a little bit more inclined to want to do it.
That is my heavy RPG
See,
days.
what one I really want to go back and finish, but I just can't ever bring myself to do it, is the Outer Worlds. I loved the Outer Worlds just for the political satire, everything. I just think it's
Yes.
genius.
Yeah,
But I can just every time I just go back to play it again, I see you coming for the RPGs. RPGs require a lot of time from you, and if you
Yeah.
don't play them for so long, you just go off them.
yeah, exactly my
I need to
point.
say- It's why with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I got so much of the way through Valhalla, and then something else came out, and I was playing that, and I was like, I'll get back to Valhalla. And every time I went on, I could never be bored. But then when I finally started playing through, forced myself to play through Valhalla again, I get really into the story again. RPGs are very demanding, so I can see why you might be put off by it.
That's what I mean. I end up like I either have to completely blitz an RPG now,
Yeah.
or just not touch them. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake was the one like RPG I'd actually got through in 2020, where I just mainlined that game completely. I just would not play anything else. I couldn't focus on anything else to play. Otherwise, if I had started something else, I would have just gone.
Yeah,
I
I generally only focus on one game at a time if
No,
they're story driven.
Okay, yeah, I'm very different in that respect because
Mm-hmm.
I can have multiple games on the go at once and just I don't like it. But
I think when I was younger, I'd certainly like when I get games for Christmas, I'd always have I'd have like one single player game and another single player game. So I would like in the one day I'd play a bit of one, a bit of
Well,
another. Like when I got Skyrim, I'd played a bit of Skyrim in the morning, and then after like I had my Christmas dinner, I played something else. There was a single player
Yeah.
thing as well.
I mean,
just jump
Christmas
between them.
is you're excited.
But
and you can help
as
it.
I've got older, like I just need to pay attention to one really.
That's how I tend to be.
But
Yeah,
Pete, I'm pretty sure you
kinda-
said yes. All right, on you go.
I was going to say it's kind of the reason why I haven't fully completed Halo Infinite stories because I'm sort of halfway through like Ratchet's story, so I'm just like I need to finish that because I've got someone waiting to actually borrow it.
Right, aye. Didn't get Halo finished. Yeah, realistically,
You can
Halo Infinite
finish-
campaign is not long.
You can finish it in
not
one
long.
night.
I mean, Pete, especially where you're at, you could play.
Sorry,
finish it in a
wait.
day.
I need to address this point, right, Kylie, and I'm going to say this slowly for you. Not everyone has a life that means they can stay up till 6 in the morning on day of release. Some people have a job where they're employed not by themselves.
See, I have a job. I work hard. And I play hard.
Yes, you do. But that doesn't mean that I have that time. I have other commitments elsewhere that means that I cannot.
I have zero
stay up
commitments.
until 6 in the morning
Now,
like
see,
I
but
used to be able to.
This is actually what I wanted to address. Because 500 hours appeals to me.
Yeah, I looked at this and I went, yeah, this is a you thing.
It's like, if you're into books, I don't really read anymore. I've explained my reasons for that. But I do remember back when I used to read. And I would be excited if the book was, like, thick, like that. Now I'd be like, ugh. But, like, you know, and so it was, like, exciting. And that's kind of how I feel now about games, is I like them jam-packed full of content. Because I play them in peace. You know, I don't. Yes, I did Halo, but that's because I'm addicted to that whole thing. But I like playing it in pieces, like chapters on a book. You know.
Yeah, I can respect that.
But the wonderful thing about Twitter is that I get to see different perspectives, and that's when I realized I have zero commitments to anyone or anything in life.
Except your business.
Well, yeah, but that's mine. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know, but still.
Yeah. And so I think that allows me. So when I see that, I'm like, ha! You know, ha!
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's 495 hours on not working.
More things for me. No, I'm still working. Don't forget.
I know.
I'm a workaholic, so I just squeeze everything.
Taking a mic, all right?
Well, it's not to touch on the 24 hour. Everyone has the same 24 hours. But what I tend to do is I have my set work, but I smush in anything and everything that I want to do in that 24 hours. And if that means not sleeping to play a game, I make that active choice. I'm not saying that other people out there should have to do that. I really do. Even if I'm not in their shoes, I can still kind of empathize and say, okay, you've got, you know, responsibilities, and you've got, you know, families, and you've got responsibilities and all the things that I don't have. So I do try to be empathetic. And maybe I'm the minority in the grand scheme, but it's a good selling point for me. Loads of content and multi-hours, yeah.
Yeah, I can get that. I know everyone is very much different in their personal lives and their commitments outside of like work and family and all that sort of thing. Not everyone gets like 8 hours a night to play a game. Like with myself, I might get like 3-4 hours a week if I'm lucky.
Oh my gosh.
Which, I mean, it sucks because I've spent a lot of money on the consoles and I don't get that much time to play. But it's always enjoyable when I do because...
Well, I'm glad for that.
So, when I do, I just want to play a game just to have fun. I don't want to play a game that's like just there for filling hours, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like... See, that's why, I mean, Pete, I was going to ask you, because you said something just about a game you can think of that you've got, and that's raised an interesting point for me, because I was going to say about kind of games I play mostly these days, so I don't know if you want to mention your game that you think you've played for about 500 hours plus.
No, 500 hours would be generous to say that I played this game for. No, take that, double it again, and you might be closer to where it is. Across 2 copies of the actual game as well. Christ, this is how bad I was back in the day. I got an import version of a game for a particular console. I'm being very vague about the game as it is anyway, but I'm sure you got, like,
well, yeah,
anyone
told
would be able
us.
to guess what the hell it is. No, I'm in the audience.
Oh, okay.
knowing my pattern of behaviour. So I got the American version of this game, and this is like back in like the late 2000s. So this is when a certain company was not doing unified worldwide releases and actually had released a copy of the game in Japan first, then in America, and had to wait 6 months for the European release.
Oh, goodness.
Now, me as a youngster at that time, just fresh out of college, had my own money from a full-time job, was like, oh, I'm not waiting another 6 months for this game and letting everyone else get ahead of me. Not a chance. So I spent the extra money on going to get this particular copy of the game until this particular company decided to patch out the facilities to be able to change the region for the game. Buggers. So I was forced to go and buy a UK PAL version of the game, and I still put roughly the amount of hours into that copy that I did for the NTSC version. That particular game, Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii. I put in, no word of a lie, because I checked the in-game counter for both copies of the game, over 5,000 hours on each.
Which, yeah,
That's heavy going.
that's a lot.
Yeah, 10,000 hours on Brawl, and it's the worst
That's
game in
a
the
lot.
series.
See, right, so that brings me to a point, right? So obviously, Pete, you're saying, like, I feel less and less I've got time to just sit and binge through a game, right? It's sometimes just don't have the motivation anymore. Whereas I find myself playing just a lot of like plus things these days. Right now, I'm in between multiplayer games because I can just jump on, make progress in it, and have fun while doing it.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I think if you think about any COD loyalists, right? Any Call of Duty loyalist out there that played every game, think about their cumulative hours playing Call of Duty. That's probably about the same, Pete, as like yours for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I could see
over the
that.
course of the entire series, but that was just on one game in a series. Like I could also state that there was probably
Yeah.
more based on the other games in the series too.
Oh dear.
So it's admittedly, at that time, I have to clarify this. I was trying to be competitive in the game. That's where my esports side started coming in a bit more. I was attending tournaments, so I was having to know the game inside and out.
Yeah. I mean, I think the point I was trying to make there is like 500 hours for a single player game seems absurd, but 500 hours in like something like a live service and MMO or
Right.
a
It's
multiplayer
kind
game.
of nothing, is it?
Yeah, it's nothing really because you're
No.
playing it over time anyway. But 500 on a single player game is a bit excessive. I think
so.
getting that. I think
so.
500 is excessive. Especially again, like if you have the motivation to complete a playthrough and then go straight into another one, fair play to you.
True. I've never
But
been able to do that.
but that's no. I think that's my final piece on this. I think single player games, well, I like to get my money's worth. That isn't strictly determined by game length. I think the quality of the story and the quality of content also make up for that. Make its worth for me, and also make it replayable.
Well, I think so. Also, like we've already stated as well, is that we're not really. I think only Kylie's probably the one that would actually be into more completionist runs.
Not so much now, though. Is what I'm
Not
saying.
as much now, but yeah,
I do still like ticking boxes and
Yeah.
checklists and stuff. Yes, I still
Yeah,
get a
whereas-
mini high from that.
Yeah, whereas we don't play that as much. So yeah, we're okay, but I think we've pretty much covered the vast majority of this story in quite some detail as well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
other details as well. So just going to open it up. Any final thoughts that we want to include with the Dying Light 2 situation, or?
I think the game would be great. Again, I just think it's a bit silly for them to make the first number the 501. I think
Yeah,
it should. At least
I agree.
infographic. I think the infographic coming out would be perfect.
I do think that people took this the wrong way completely at first. Like the
To
additional
be fair,
point,
they were very vague about it. They didn't.
they
They
were,
weren't
yeah,
specific.
they were vague.
It's not fault.
Yeah, there's a fault there's fault on the side of Techland for stating that, but there's also fault for people going a bit too overboard with it. On social media. What a surprise that people go overboard on social media.
Imagine.
But what you have to look at this is right. 500 hours. If the full story took 500 hours, I can understand why people got annoyed by that. But 500 hours for everything in the game gives a lot of options, and I think options is a great choice.
Yeah.
Kylie, any closing thoughts?
No closing thoughts from me. So I think if that's gonna do it for everyone, we're gonna
Yep.
wrap it up. We do thank our lovely, lovely listeners and watchers for joining us on yet another thrilling adventure of the Rapid Reviews crew. So I want to ask these fellers where we can find them out there. So Pete, where can they find you?
You can find me on the Twitter sphere. That is twitter.com/PeteBeckett1. It's spelled BECKETT and the number 1. Where you can hear me, see me tweeting about nonsense.
Right. So Ciaran, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter, as always, at the Mc-Ginn, THEEMCGINN. And on there, you can find a link to Rapid Reviews UK, where I recently put out my review of Bungie's 30th anniversary pack for Destiny 2, which I could tell you my thoughts here, but I'll let you go read it for yourself.
It's a little teaser.
Need
There's some good-
them clicks for rapid reviews.
Yeah.
There is some good content with the 30th anniversary event, but yeah, just if you want to see what it's very comprehensive. I go into quite a lot of depth. Apologies to the editor who had to go through it all, but I wanted to be thorough. But yeah, go check it out, and I'm hoping to get something else out soon. Just keep an eyes peeled for that.
Sure. Kylie?
Sure, yeah. If you want to follow along on my misadventures, you can follow me at KILEYTHGREET over on
Yes.
Twitter.
Why
So,
is it not I have to confirm what your Twitter handle is?
well, I have no witty comeback for that. So we will see you and talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thus ends the podcast. We'll do maybe a minute here and then send Ciaran on his way.
Oh, we're keeping you awake, mate. So bored of this conversation.
No.
Look, just because the smell of food is coming up your stairs doesn't mean
Oh,
you
I
have to
can-
go, oh, yeah, sorry guys, got to call this a show, I've got to go to bed, you know, I'm so tired.
I can smell the smell of macaroni wafting in. Oh,
I love pasta. I
Lovely.
can't eat it, and I love it so much. But that's
I
the
do-
story
I-
of my life.
I do like me some mac and cheese, but I can, my dinner is toad in the hole.
what is
Okay.
toad in the hole? It's just some English thing.
It is
Has to
sausages in batter.
Just
Like
battered
Yorkshire
sausages. Oh.
Right. Okay. I was going to
No,
say. I was
it's
going.
like a Yorkshire pudding, like batter mixture.
Not
I
like
was going
a
to say. I was going to say
chip
like
shop?
that's not.
No,
No. It means Yorkshire pudding.
No, not a battered sausage.
No, not a battered sausage. It means like
No, it's sausage
a sausage
inside a casing that's made out of batter mixture.
Okay. Like a
It's
corn dog.
dead. Not.
hmm.
I'm gonna find a picture and send it to you.
more like kind of flaky pastry. Would you not say, Pete?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I
But if
think Yorkshire pudding's more pastry than it is.
I think it probably is, yeah. But
Yeah.
I do.
So my,
This
if
is making
you,
me hungry
I mean,
now.
Kayla, I take it you've had a Yorkshire pudding, yeah. Like,
I've seen them. I know what they are. I'm
Well, that's
conscious.
essentially what it is.
I'm
It's
conscious
that-
of what they look like. Put it that way.
It's made out of Yorkshire pudding, basically, which is a batter mixture.
So the actual batter, okay, which is like an
Yeah.
eggy batter. So,
yeah, it's like flaky kind of pastry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a lot of air in it. It goes puffy.
Yeah.
right, okay.
Kind of like a steak pie, kind of pastry-ish, kind
Oh, steak pie.
I do love steak pie.
of. I think it's still weird though,
Agree.
Pete, nonetheless. But I don't know.
What do I know? Enough. I mean, it is clearly a food, obviously.
Oh yeah, I mean, anything's food if you try hard enough.
It's true. Put enough salt
What
on
is-
it, and you can eat
What is
anything.
this not going through?
It's alright. I can't see it
Okay.
anyway.
Oh, it's gone through as one of those packs.
Jiffif.
Not the things. Not.
Jiffif.
Yeah, it's come up with a jiffif. A jiffif.
Jiffif.
A jiffif.
A jiffif. Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, it says that it downloads as a JPEG, but it's not downloading as a JPEG.
That's right. I can Google it. I will Google it.
Yeah, just type in Toad in the Hole and you'll see it.
It's not going to bring me up some weird sex site.
No, I can literally just give you the link that I just posted in for proof that it does not come up with some weird sex thing.
I mean, what am I supposed to think when you say Toad in the Hole? It's like pigs in a blanket.
No, don't you dare diss pigs in a blanket. Pigs in a blanket are like the greatest thing to have on a Christmas dinner.
Way different. They're
A
different
match.
in America. Completely different.
They're a match made in heaven.
They're really nice, but in America,
I
they're good
it's,
too.
it's pig wrapped in pig. What more could you
I
want?
know. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's sausage.
Now I
and
am
bacon.
getting
You know,
hungry.
two of the greatest pork things ever.
Oh
Except
my
pork
gosh.
chops.
I'm not a fan of pork chops. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, pork chops.
Depends on how they're cooked.
Yeah.
If they're cooked
I
by
just
me,
find
they're
like
amazing.
see things like steak and that. I just find them so bland, taste
See?
wise.
That's why
Oh.
you have to have someone like me make them a professional.
Yes.
Well, aye, fair enough. It's like, see for
No,
like seasons
no,
and
the-
stuff, and it's given flavour, yeah. But like, see,
No,
just
no,
steak or something
no.
like that. My mum and dad.
There's a certain way you have to do it.
Yes, you have.
I just like every time. No matter, like, I've had varying degrees of steak, right, and always they've tasted just like blood
Well,
to me.
it
Always cooked
depends.
poorly then.
Yeah, for sure. But it depends on what you're. I mean, if you're a picky eater, and you've stated that you are, so it really depends on what your acceptance of texture and flavors are.
I'm in terms of meat. I'm not gonna chewy meat.
Yeah, so you wouldn't want to have a well done steak
No.
at all.
No,
So
not
I
at
mean, so
I
what you,
like mine nice and soft, nice and tender.
yeah, what you've probably had is rare or medium rare, whereas a medium steak would probably be perfect for you.
Yeah, but like flavour though, that's what I'm saying. I've tried various types of steak.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is if you get it at a medium, that's where you can get the flavour in, obviously through salt
But
and
how-
pepper. But you by doing Kylie, I'm taking this away from you.
I know,
You're
it's
actually
fine.
someone who's written a cookbook for Christ's sake.
It's fine, Pete.
But-
It's fine.
But yeah, it's all about how you seal the meat first.
Right.
You
Yeah.
seal it so what people will do is they'll seal it first, then cook it through, and then obviously that's where you'll get all your flavour from is the sealing process.
Right. Okay. I see.
Yeah.
That's even more fun facts. Great.
Yeah, that's what we're all about here.
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna-
reviews Foodcast.
Yeah.
Well,
We did music last week.
We'll wrap it up right quick. Okay. Thank you to everyone who is watching this VOD right now as we speak. We're in your
Yeah.
living room and your ears.
Yes.
And we will see you at some point this week, maybe Friday, but we will talk about that more later.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about it during our weekly discussion.
Right. Okay, we will see you folks later. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Car.